To those of you that are not convinced that Sony has lost its way and screwed its brand over, I want you to just look at this. I want you to see this, you know, and everything. I asked, what the number of exclusives on the PlayStation 1 versus 2 versus 3 versus 4 versus 5 were and everything. And, the bot, Gemini responds, the definition of a video game exclusive varies depending on whether you count true exclusives only playable on that exact machine or console exclusives shared only with PC or cross-generational games. However, historical game trackers like MOBA games group software platform listings to give us clear data on how exclusivity has drastically shrunk over the generations. You know, and so this is the PlayStation 1, the estimated number of exclusives, including Metal Gear Solid and Crash Bandicoot 1 through 3, that estimated number of exclusives was 1,200. Then you have the PlayStation 2, which exceeded it with 1,800, with God of War 1 and 2, Gran Turismo, and Jack and Dexter, just some of the various titles. And then almost immediately we had a massive crash and scale back, that happened with the PlayStation 3. I don't know what the hell happened between the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, but Sony was already losing its way sometime in the middle of the PlayStation 2 generation where it screwed working designs over one of my absolute favorite studios in gaming and everything. And I know RPG Gamer himself famously disagrees with me. I don't care. See, Sony made a reputation during the PlayStation 1 of bending over backwards to appease the third party developers. As far as I'm concerned, they have no reason to exist outside of giving the third party developers everything they ask for and their job. And if they don't fulfill this job, they have no right to exist at all. Is when a third party developer says something or asks for something, and or ask them to jump, it's to ask how high, and then when they get their answer, to do exactly that. And barring that, gamers should destroy their company, boycott it, sell their consoles, blow them up, and buy not a single fucking game from them ever again. So do I care what working designs asked what they asked for was considered unreasonable? No, I don't. Sony should have given it to them because they have no right to exist outside of servicing their third-party developers. Period. End of discussion. Anyways, so they're down to 200 and 300 during the PlayStation 3 days. You know, Now we're at the PlayStation 4, where there's only 70 to 100 of them, you know, to sell it. And now the PlayStation 5 comes, and there's only 10 to 15 true, you know, exclusives and 20 console exclusives. You, you know, this is a brand that has been utterly ruined. It has destroyed itself. This is a brand that has clearly lost its way and gone to shit. You know, if it didn't go to shit, it would still be producing over 1,000 fucking exclusives per generation. But it hasn't done that. It can't. It Right now they continue to try to double down relentlessly. They've destroyed studio after studio after studio by doubling down on live service slop that no one wants. You know, I'm not speculating that Sony has lost its way. Sony has objectively lost. And, I would expect that the PlayStation 5 sorry, 6 is going to fail. There's no point in even owning one because we already know that Sony has apparently given up on having exclusives at all. When they're what sells a console in the first place. I mean, what's left on the PlayStation 5 and everything. And if you don't care about something like Demon Souls, and the remake of it, if you don't give a shit about these exclusives because they're not, your cup of tea as far as gaming, then there's nothing that this platform has, on it. And I've pointed this out before, but it's been 5 years and not a single turn-based RPG as an exclusive on it, and yet Nintendo has exactly that coming right up the pike It's a strategy RPG. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Which completely justifies my purchase for the Nintendo Switch 2. Know, and everything. And this is why I bought the damn thing. It's because I can't, even if someday an emulator maybe still years away from that thing. And so that's why, like, Sony has completely lost the plot. They've lost, you know, they completely lost it. I mean, and now they're announcing more physical media. Like, they don't seem to realize we do not need them at all. And one of the things that really stunned me is that during this backlash, I'm hearing comments from them like, "Oh, you'll be back." No, I won't. No, I will not. If I wasn't certain about that, I would not have sold my PlayStation 5 in the first place. This is Grand Theft Auto 5, 6, not tempted by it. Wolverine, don't give a shit about it either. You know, these games are not the type of games that I grew up playing, that I like, or anything. What made the PlayStation 1 and 2 great was that it didn't matter what kind of game you preferred playing. There was something for you available for the console, and there is not anymore. I await Persona 6, which I will just play on the fucking PC if it doesn't come out for the Switch 2. You know, from Atlas. Sony is fucking useless, dead weight to me that stopped making games for people who had my taste in games a long time ago. I just read the room. They don't want to service and cater to people that prefer turn-based RPGs. Yes, I will freely admit that there are a few of them, like available on the platform, but none of them, absolutely zero of them, are exclusive to it to justify the purchase of it. And if you say that the best versions of them ran on the PlayStation, no, the best versions of them always ran on the PC.